Stewie's first swear word. Lois is immediately thrust into damage control mode. Naturally, Peter's not using it responsibly. Peter and Lois try to have a romantic beach getaway. Peter tries on a magician's vest and loses both his arms. Peter channels his inner godfather, which is hilarious. She even tries to steal the presents. Brian's doggy instincts go into overdrive when he starts dating Holly. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into some of the most iconic and hilarious moments from Family Guy Season 19. Alright, we're starting strong with a jaw-dropping moment. Stewie's first swear word. And where does it happen? At church, of course. Stewie, the baby genius, lets a curse word slip right in the middle of the sermon, and Lois's face says it all. Utter shock and disbelief. But let's be real. How many of us have accidentally let a curse word slip at the worst possible moment? Family Guy takes that social faux pas to the next level. Now, Lois has her hands full when she's confronted by a group of judgmental moms after Stewie's outburst.
I don't think Stewie would be a good influence on the other children.
Lois is immediately thrust into damage control mode.
Stewie obviously learned to swear from some TV show.
No, he didn't. The only show he watches is Caillou.
Trying to figure out where Stewie could have learned the word. Is it TV? Friends? Maybe Stewie's been hanging out with some mini-villains? Lois spirals into perfect mom panic, and it's hilarious to see her try to keep it together while the chaos continues to mount. Lois, being the detective she is, suspects the influence of Caillou, that whiny, bratty kid's show. Seriously, who thought Caillou would be the villain here? Lois goes on a rant about how much she hates the show, and it's both funny and a little relatable.
Okay.
And I will find out who. I'm gonna set a trap and lure the swearer into revealing himself.
Stewie, picking up on the bad vibes, might have had the right idea after all. Family Guy brilliantly parodies the show, taking every annoying trait to the extreme. If only we could all be so open about our hatred for that show. Next, Stewie faces one of his greatest heartbreaks yet. Rupert, his beloved teddy bear, isn't just his anymore. It turns out Rupert used to belong to Chris, and his original name wasn't Rupert.
What's he doing with Chris?
Well, Rupert belonged to Chris before he was yours. Didn't you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, it was named Skippy.
He had a different name.
Oh no, it was Skippy. The heartbreak is real, and Stewie's over-the-top dramatic reaction is everything we expect from him. What follows is a mix of betrayal, revenge plots, and a very Stewie sense of justice. Can't make this stuff up, folks. Speaking of revenge, Stewie doesn't take this betrayal lying down. He concocts an incredibly elaborate scheme to get back at Chris.
I know he was yours first. Well, I want you to have Skippy back. Yay. Oh.
Naturally, it fails hilariously, because Stewie's schemes almost always do. But what really makes this moment stand out? The emotional twist. Stewie has a change of heart and spares Chris. This moment shows that while Stewie may be a mini-villain, he's got some layers. It's a classic mix of absurdity and emotional depth. Only Family Guy can pull this off. Now, what's a Family Guy episode without Peter getting into some kind of ridiculous accident? This time, it's with a chainsaw. Naturally, Peter's not using it responsibly. Instead of cutting down a tree, he injures himself.
Hey, Lois, I'm just hollowing out this tree for the Keebler elves to live in.
But here's the kicker. He goes to the chiropractor, gets his spine realigned, and suddenly he's taller? Peter is now towering over everyone, and his height becomes just another absurd element to his already reckless personality. Only Peter could turn a simple chiropractor visit into something this ridiculous. Chris and Stewie adopt an orphaned squirrel, and of course, things go wild.
I dare say we would make outstanding parents to this squirrel.
Their over-the-top parenting of the squirrel, arguing over who's the better parent, is classic Family Guy humor. But things take a dark turn when Brian accidentally kills the squirrel. Suddenly, the hilarious situation morphs into a morbid tragedy. Chris and Stewie's blame game is gold, and Brian's "oops, my bad face?" priceless. From Stewie's first swear word to Peter getting ridiculously tall, we've got plenty of wild moments, so buckle up, because things are about to get crazy. Let's go. Peter and Lois try to have a romantic beach getaway, but leave it to Family Guy to turn it into a surreal experience. They get sucked into this bizarre cutaway world filled with strange Australian fashion and even weirder antics. The randomness of it all is what makes it so funny. Family Guy excels at taking a simple concept and completely warping it into a chaotic, hilarious mess. One of the more unexpected cutaways comes in the form of Peter and Lois watching Tom Brady in the shower.
You missed the kids. I am not gonna let you ruin this. Tom Brady's locker.
Peter, we've already...
Tom Brady's locker!
Okay, Peter, that's it. We're going home, and we're going home now.
You might think this would be a typical football scene, but no. Family Guy takes it in a whole new direction, making it way more absurd than it has any right to be. Brady's shower scene is so out of left field that it leaves you laughing and confused.
Wait, so when you two disappeared, you were just doing cutaways? And now we're all trapped here?
Perfect. Family Guy material. Episode 10 gives us yet another absurd cutaway, this time revolving around Hitler. But here's the kicker.
Wow, Joe's instructions were perfect.
Well, who's going to kill Hitler?
Meg, the least likely hero, actually defeats this portrayal of the Nazi dictator. It's one of those completely random, off-the-wall moments that only Family Guy could pull off. Meg? Saving the day? In this universe, anything is possible.
Hitler head, yo! He cried like a bitch when I did it.
Peter, as Susie's godfather, takes the role way too seriously.
Damn it, Peter. Being Susie's godfather doesn't mean you're in the mob. And you can't bring a cat to church.
Why not?
Decked out in a white suit and using mafia lingo, Peter channels his inner godfather, which is hilarious. Considering, well, he's Peter Griffin. This is classic Peter. Absurd, over the top, and just plain funny. His godfather antics provide some of the most laugh-out-loud moments of the season. Speaking of godfather duties, Peter's attempt to get Susie christened spirals completely out of control.
Like hell it is. I'm the godfather of this event, and I want a debilitating wine and candy headache.
With a shortage of priests, a rabbi is called in to conduct the ceremony. The absurdity of religious rituals clashing with Peter's cluelessness is peak Family Guy comedy. And the random twists make it even funnier. It's moments like this that remind us why we love this show. In the same episode, Peter completely ruins a police sting operation with his godfather antics.
Hey, anybody want to do karaoke after this?
Sure, I can use the mic taped to my chest. Peter, no!
But here's the kicker. What saves the day? A sentient jar of tomato sauce. That's right. In the world of Family Guy, a talking jar of tomato sauce swoops in to save the day.
Oh my God! Thank you!
Prego.
Absurd? Yes. Hilarious? Absolutely. Let's start with Peter, the lovable oaf himself. In one of the most ridiculous physical comedy moments, Peter tries on a magician's vest and loses both his arms. Yeah, you heard that right. His arms, gone. Poof.
Peter, thank God you're awake.
Well, what happened? This should explain everything. A farewell to arms.
What's left? Just two tiny, comically undersized hands. And trust me, they are as useless as they sound. Peter's new tiny hands lead to some legendary moments, like trying to give Bruce a high five, only for the hands to flop awkwardly in the air.
Probably not going to be able to have sex for like a while, though, right? I think it should be fun. Oh, yay.
It's honestly impressive how Peter can turn a simple gesture into an entire episode of slapstick. And of course, he does this while completely oblivious to how ridiculous he looks.
Meg's completely oblivious to it. You know, what I'd like to know is why he's doing this.
Is it really such a bad thing, Lois? I mean, they're having fun with each other.
Now, hold on.
Listen, I wanted to talk to you about Bruce.
Isn't he the best?
Oh, yeah, he's great, but you haven't noticed anything different about him?
Because Lois, being the ever-so-enlightened mom, decides to educate Meg about homosexuality by showing her this charming 1950s propaganda film titled Boys Beware.
You see, Ralph was a homosexual.
Yeah, because nothing says great parenting like a film calling homosexuality a mental illness.
Listen, I'm just trying to...
Oh, I know what you're trying to do. Pathetic little Meg is happy for once, and you just can't take it.
Which is your favorite part of this wild season? Let us know in the comments. First up, we have Peter's genius plan to sabotage Wild West's chances at becoming the new mayor.
Wait a second. Mayor West didn't have any kids, but he did have a cousin, Wild West.
What does he do? The most logical thing possible. He tries to cut off West's mustache while he's asleep. But surprise, surprise, Peter's clumsiness strikes again, and the whole thing falls apart like one of Stewie's evil plots gone wrong. A stealth mission? Not exactly. More like a slapstick disaster. And that facial expression when he gets caught, classic Peter Griffin. A moment of pure chaos. Peter, in a desperate attempt to sabotage Wild West, ends up setting the local library on fire. You'd think he was just lighting a candle, but nope. The whole place goes up in flames. It's a classic case of Peter's stupidity at its finest, with fire, panic, and Peter realizing that he just might have gone a tiny bit too far. Honestly, the way he panics is almost endearing. Almost.
Hang on, little lady, I'm a-comin'.
And finally, the most unexpected and awkwardly hilarious moment of the episode. Lois's unexpected confession. In a scene that goes from romantic to what just happened in seconds, Peter and Lois have a, let's say, intimate moment. Everything's going fine until Lois accidentally calls out Wild West's name instead of Peter's.
Oh, yes. Oh, Wild West. Wild West.
What?
Talk about a record scratch moment. Peter's face was priceless, the perfect blend of confusion, shock, and a bit of bruised ego.
Peter, what are you doing?
I've decided that Wild West is the worst possible person to be mayor, and I'm going to do whatever I can to stop him.
Okay, is this because I called out his name twice?
Let's start with Brian's journalism disaster.
Welcome to the Hog. I'll ask my roommate to move his car so you can pull out.
Our favorite intellectual dog is desperate for a scoop, so he digs into the town's history, only to find out that Pawtucket Pat, Quahog's beloved hero, was more of a sneaky thief than a saint.
Okay, I have to write an article on the life of the town's hero and brewery founder, Pawtucket Pat.
The big reveal? He stole the famous beer recipe from Native Americans. Brian's face when he realizes this bombshell is classic. A mix of shock, guilt, and the kind of regret you only get when you've gone too deep for a simple story. It's the kind of comedic timing that makes you laugh and cringe at the same time.
Oh my God! What? He says that he didn't create his recipe for beer. He stole it from some Native Americans and killed them to keep his secret.
Cue Peter's oblivious denial, passionately defending the statue with logic that, let's just say, doesn't quite hold up.
God, there's a lot wrong with this, but you can't tear this down. Pat's an icon. That statue belongs right here in the park.
Now, on to the chaotic statue scene. Brian, with Stewie's less than helpful support, tries to remove the statue of Pawtucket Pat.
But before we begin, I'm just going to use the park bathroom at night.
Stewie, no!
In typical Family Guy style, things go hilariously off track. Brian accidentally wrecks his car in the process, and the statue ends up rolling right into the river. Stewie's snide commentary during the whole disaster makes it even funnier. He's practically narrating Brian's meltdown, turning every mistake into a punchline. It's slapstick gold. The final showdown. Just when you think the whole town's about to go to war over the statue, the local Native Americans show up to settle things down.
This statue is only the tip of the iceberg.
They pretty much give the town a reality check, pointing out that, hey, there are bigger problems than an old statue. The whole scene is a perfect blend of absurdity and sharp social commentary. And, as a final jab, they move the statue to a museum where nobody will ever see it again, solving everything in the most Family Guy way possible.
Spirit of compromise, the town has decided that it will be relocated to the Quahog Museum, where it will be both remembered and never seen by anyone ever again.
Peter actually does something right. Well, kinda. Lois hands Peter the Christmas to-do list. And, she's expecting things like buy gifts or decorate the tree.
And I want all of these completed by tomorrow.
What does Peter do? Take the family to a strip mall and forget everything Christmas related. But the best part? Peter, wait for it, actually puts up the Christmas lights. Sure, they're so bright that they're visible from space, but hey, at least Peter's trying. Too bad they blind the entire neighborhood, including Quagmire, who's just trying to have a 3 out of 10 date without being spotted. Classic Peter. Now, things take a turn when Lois, oh yes, Lois, decides she's had enough of her family's help.
You know what? I've had it. Every year my cousin asked me to come to Cabo for Christmas. Well, this year, I'm going.
And pretends to go on vacation to Cabo. But nope, she's not in Cabo. She's at a local motel spying on the family like a crazed Santa Claus stalker. As if that wasn't enough, she's now dressed up as the Grinch and sneaks into the house to sabotage the Christmas decorations. Because what's a family holiday without a little light-hearted destruction? Lois pulls out every trick in the book, knocking over Christmas trees, tearing down lights. She even tries to steal the presents. But of course, her Grinchy plot is more clumsy than clever.
Why are you in pigtails in a little girl's nightgown?
Okay, maybe we both forget what we saw.
And then, just when you think things can't get more ridiculous, Lois returns home to find that her family, despite her sabotage, actually managed to pull off a holiday miracle. They've made her a heartfelt gift, a hideous bowl from pottery class. Not exactly a diamond ring, but hey, it's the thought that counts, right? Lois's emotional breakdown over the gift is gold.
Now open your present.
Because, let's be real, if you were in a hospital after sabotaging your own family's Christmas, you'd be crying over a poorly crafted bowl, too. Griffin, the guy who can't even manage to keep his pants on during a family dinner, is now working as a nurse. Yes, you heard that right. A nurse. After surviving the flu season, Peter somehow ends up volunteering at the hospital. But let's be honest, folks. Peter's the last person you want handling your IV drip. Instead of saving lives, he's destroying them. Like when he tries to perform CPR on a guy, and it's less life-saving and more life-threatening. At one point, he even gives his patient an enema, just for kicks. I mean, this man could get sued into oblivion, but hey, he might save a life in the process.
What do we got?
Head injury. He got knocked down.
We'll get him up again. I need 2 milligrams of chumba and 1 of wumba.
Next up, Brian finds out he's part cat. Yeah, because that's totally normal. He gets his genetic test results back, and what does he do? He decides to embrace his newfound cat heritage like a confused house pet. You know, jumping on furniture, knocking over vases, and of course, trying to leap off the roof to show off his cat-like grace. But, nope. Cue the epic fail. He crashes straight into the ground like a deflated balloon. All that time spent licking his paws for nothing. Stewie, naturally, has the best response. Well, that's a real leap of stupidity, Brian.
Thanks, Stewie. I'm ready for another Vicodin and peanut butter now.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Peter Griffin and the giant chicken, together again for an unlikely life-saving adventure. After Ernie the giant chicken winds up in the hospital, Peter's forced to become the hero he never thought he could be. But here's the twist. This time, Ernie's not here for their usual battle of epic proportions. He's in serious need of help. Peter's reluctance turns into full-blown panic mode as he performs the most aggressive CPR in TV history. Picture Peter screaming, "I will not let you die, chicken," while practically pummeling Ernie's chest. It's the kind of absurdity that only Family Guy could get away with, and honestly, it's the most Peter Griffin thing ever.
You saved me? Why?
Because I hate you.
Holly.
I was serious about the bag, but hi, I'm Brian.
Holly.
Holly, are you free on Friday night?
Well, I don't know. Are you a shoe store murderer?
From licking Kyle's face to, well, let's just say mistakenly. Leaving a little gift in her yard, Brian pulls out all the stops to impress the kid. But what does he get for his efforts? A pile of rejection and a scathing look from Stewie. Peter and Chris's fraudulent business venture. Peter and Chris decide to sell fake memorabilia after Chris accidentally catches a home run ball. Their first sale is to Quagmire, who buys a hat worn by Sully for $5,000. The ridiculousness escalates when Peter and Chris think they can keep the scam going by not letting Quagmire get the hat signed, until Sully himself calls it a believable hat and sends a nonsensical motivational message.
So if that man believes he has my hat, maybe that'll make him a little bit better husband.
Nope.
Little better dad.
Nope.
Little better sex character who doesn't play as well in the Me Too era.
Oh.
Stewie's youthful transformation.
Important to me. Stewie, what the hell did you do to yourself? Nothing, almost nothing. Just a little Botox, a little filler, maybe some strings.
Stewie, mistaken for being at least 3, gets Botox and fillers to look younger, which turns out terribly. In a desperate attempt to salvage his look, he has surgery to reshape his face, but as a result, it all falls apart right before his school picture.
No, Doctor, this is Stewie. He needs you to help fix his face.
Oh, absolutely. I can do that.
Great. Is it a simple procedure?
Oh, sure. We just break every bone in his face and then smush him back into position.
Meg's escape from her ankle bracelet. Meg, who's under house arrest, takes things to a comically absurd level by severing her own foot to escape her ankle bracelet.
Guys, I just found Meg's ankle bracelet.
So?
Her foot's still in it.
This bizarre decision adds an extra layer of chaos, leaving us wondering just how far she'll go to regain her freedom. First up, let's talk about the epic entrance of Peterminator. Peter, in true Family Guy fashion, does not hold back when he's sent from the future in full Terminator mode. Naked and straight to business. He walks in, casually blows off the chicken's head. Just another day in Quahog, right? But the real kicker is when he stands there. No clothes, just murderous intent. And his incredibly confused family. Nothing says, "I'm here to destroy," like awkward nudity, folks.
Here comes the hot stepper, murderer. I'm the lyrical gangster, murderer. Excuse me, Mr. Officer, murderer.
And here's where things get real. Stewie and Brian travel to the future, where they discover that their friendship has been destroyed by Instagram comments. Yup. In the future, a sarcastic remark about when Sally met Sally destroys their bond.
My God, we do become enemies. That makes me sad. Look, that future hasn't happened yet. We can avoid it by protecting our friendship at all costs. You're right.
So, what do? They have to kiss. Kiss. Yup, you heard me right. It's an over-the-top, passionate kiss to prove their bond is unbreakable, while being pursued by an army of Terminator robots. You couldn't make this stuff up, folks. Stewie gets a mail-order bride from Ukraine. Now, we all know Stewie's got his own unique approach to relationships. But sending off for a wife? Classic Stewie move.
Brian, I'd like you to meet my fiancée that I ordered from the Ukraine, the soon-to-be Stewie Griffin. Is there a dead body in there?
Yeah, they send 2 in case one dies.
He's all pumped up thinking he's going to be the perfect husband, until he realizes the romantic life comes with a lot of responsibilities. And by responsibilities, I mean a very angry Zlata, who wants to take matters into her own hands. She's not impressed with Stewie's attempts at love. Poor guy. One moment he's playing house, the next he's stuck at a car rental place trying to make it work. Things go from bad to worse when Stewie realizes Zlata's interest in Brian. And that's when the claws come out.
Hey, Stewie. Brian? What the hell? That's my wife, man! Get off her! Stewie, wait, I can explain. What's there to explain, Brian?
In an absolute fit of rage, Stewie destroys Brian's car. But instead of confronting Zlata about her flirtations, Stewie takes it out on Brian's wheels. Classic Stewie. But let's be honest, it's hard to not laugh when Stewie's tiny, furious frame destroys something much bigger than him. Oh, the chaos. And then, of course, there's Peter and Chris, masters of the breakfast buffet. What starts as a simple desire for free food spirals into a full-blown addiction.
This is why Sweden, Chris, never Finland.
I'll never doubt you again.
Good.
Peter's trying to sneak his way into hotel buffets like a pro, and before you know it, he's coaching Chris on the art of buffet crashing. It's pure comedy when Peter has to impersonate guards just to break Chris out of Buffett jail. I mean, who knew buffets could lead to prison time? Lois decides she's going to win the Customer of the Week award at her favorite coffee spot. But when she doesn't get it, she loses it. And we're talking full-on, caffeine-fueled madness here. She turns into a terrifying perfectionist, doing everything from ordering extra drinks to dressing up like she's in a coffee commercial. Who knew a coffee shop could become a battlefield? Meanwhile, Peter and the gang, naturally, try to help Lois, because they're such good husbands. Peter's grand idea? He'll become a mystery customer, basically sneaking in to give Lois a boost. The result? A series of catastrophes that ends with him almost getting thrown out 3 times. Classic Peter. Brian discovers something that blows his mind. He has a family.
So you can go back to your owners, the Hendersons of Bristol County.
And not just any family. He's got the rich, super polished Hendersons. Forget the Griffins. This is the good life. But when Brian's chip gives him a glimpse into his high-class past, you can practically hear the theme music as he marches into their world, complete with his serious face and attempt at a classy handshake. But of course, everything goes wrong. Nothing says, "I'm better than this," like fumbling with a wine glass. Meanwhile, the Griffins are busy being, well, the Griffins. And while Brian's off living the high life, Peter, Meg, and Stewie are trying so hard to seem normal. Peter's biggest move? He dresses up in the most absurd tuxedo you've ever seen, thinking he'll impress the Hendersons. Spoiler, it's a disaster. The highlight? Peter thinking the Hendersons' house is a fun mansion that needs plenty of Peter Griffin flavor.